Hey guys, so I picked up Husqvarna 36. It's Poulan built, um, but the Husqvarna specs, I believe. And so I'll put you up here on the tripod. So it was broken when I bought it. Still broken, and it has good compression, but what I noticed right off the get-go is that the clutch needle bearing was seized, and so I had to take that apart, and the needles just fell right out, and it was bad because it was like almost lock solid. What else did I find? I noticed that some of these main screws, there was like two missing, so it was really floppy. And it still just doesn't run. What I have noticed is there's quite a bit of end play, like in and out, as you can hear, but there's no side to side play, so I'm still kind of in the phase where I'm trying to figure out if there's a leak or not. I did both sides, and they're tight, like side to side, but there is that play, so I don't know if that's going to cause some problems. And it, like I said, it just doesn't run. So I think what my first steps are going to be is I'm just going to take the carburetor apart. If I can find the tools. Let's see. So these were a bit hard to get at, but I believe they're 7mm. It might be a little loose. And that just holds that, they're studs, so they hold the carburetor in this plastic bit. You can take this linkage off right now. It just comes out like that. One thing I did notice yesterday is that there was no fuel filter on this fuel line, so that's why I'm thinking this carb has some issues. It's not running, right? So this can just pop up for now. Okay. And you can just pull that off with pliers. And we'll take this one off. It just goes into that hole, and it goes, goes like that. I don't think that would work. No. Alright. So we're gonna replace the fuel line at some point with the new fuel filter. I don't know if you can see that, but fuel will come out of there. It's probably a good idea to drain the fuel tank, which I'll do right now. That was another thing, is the fuel cap was leaking. But they're the same fuel caps that are on my 385, so. Alright. That gasket looks pretty good. I don't know if you can see, but it does look pretty good. A lot of times these have problems with the impulse tube behind here getting kind of hard or cracked or whatever. I like just to make, I think everything looks pretty tight, so I'm not really worried about that. The fuel line isn't too bad, but like I said, the fuel filter wasn't even in there, so I don't know what's going on there. This is a Walboro. Good guys, so I got the brake clean, and we'll just go ahead and take this needle out. Be careful of the little springs. All right. I do like this type of brake clean. It's the brake cleaner gunk. It dries very quickly and doesn't leave a residue, and it comes with a nice straw. So we'll just spritz this down. And again, watch your eyes, because you'll end up spraying yourself right in the frickin' eyeball. Some of these newer saws, not this one, but like anything new, it's difficult to find the carburetor settings. Like they may say it's a quarter turn, but that's from from where the limiter caps are. I hope you guys all had awesome Christmases and partied pretty hard on New Year's. It's going to be a pretty good year, I feel. These Husqvarna 36s, which are basically poulans, are quite common to have air leaks, like anywhere from the cylinder back to the carburetor. So in all likelihood, I'd probably have to replace some of those rubber parts. But they are good saws. I mean, you can cut some firewood with them, for sure. Cool. Like you saw in that other video, I think this is the hardest part, especially if you have big fingers and whatnot. But hopefully I can do this a bit better than last time. It doesn't look like it though. Great. There she is. Perfect. Cool. And actually, I don't think you'll be able to tell, but it does seem a lot freer and working better. Cool. All right. It's always a good idea just to start all of them first loosely before tightening them down in a crisscross pattern. There we go. Good. I like using the flat screwdriver just to get a more positive tight. I like to back this idle so it's not touching. And you can just hold it up to the light. You just bring it in until you start seeing just a little bit of light around there. Perfect. And that way, I like to set them with as little idle as possible. Like, if you get what I mean, like open the this part of it open, because this is what holds that open for idle, to set your idle. And I like to have as little as possible. Because they do have a little slot, and really that's should be enough for it to idle if it's running properly. So I don't see anything wrong with this carburetor. I mean, it should run. So what I'm gonna have to get now is some new fuel line. I'll show you. This is what it looked like. It's hard, and there's no filter in there. So at this point, we need a new piece of fuel line and a fuel filter.